Welcome back to another episode of Overs and Unders, where we talk everything match betting in Australia. I'll let Ricky introduce the agenda for today's episode.
Yeah, so we're very, very privileged to have with us one of our special guests who's been part of the Playmakers Elite community from pretty much day one of our OG members. He's been there through all the winning weeks and also the only 2 losing weeks that we've had to date. I'd like to introduce our very own Tom Scott, aka Scrom.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be here.
Do you want to talk a little bit about yourself? What were your sort of gambling habits? When did you start gambling? Did you start getting on the punt as soon as you were 18?
Yeah, actually was pretty bad. I was trying to get on a little bit of the punt before I was even 18 because I've got an older brother. So before I was 18, just when everyone in grade 12 was flicking over to 18, like Sam was turning 18 in grade 12, but I'm like a year younger. So when everyone was getting on, I was like, oh, NBA's on, I want to throw a bet on. So I was like, my older brother had an account, so I was like, $5 here, put on like some $600 to 1 multi or something like that. But then once I turned 18, outside of school, I got on the punt, downloaded a couple, Bookies, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, Neds, some of the big ones, and then gambled like fairly like heavily for the first like few years I was out of school. Like probably, if I was being honest, like bordering on like getting to like addiction point pretty bad.
Right.
And then I took a step back and I was like, wow, I'm just losing so much money, like can't save anything, trying to save up to go on trips with my mates, whatever. And I was like, kind of took a step back from it all and just reduced how much I was gambling back to like $50 a week, maybe like a little bit here and there. But I was like pretty much the average Aussie punter, like as like a 18 to 21 year old.
Yeah.
Who's, you know, throwing on your big 10-legger try-scorer multis or whatever else. Like,
were you putting big stakes on, or were they just still like the $5, $10, but you were just doing a lot of them?
I like started in that, like when I was freshly 18 or like 19, I was doing the big like 10-leg multis with like a small stake, and then I even got pretty bad and I was doing like big $250 stakes, but just not on multis, but like on single bets on the NBA or whatever.
Yeah.
But definitely money that like I didn't have that much money to be able to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was getting bad. And so I took a step back and was just going back to like $50 a week, something that I could manage that, you know, was sustainable. But
I can kind of relate to that because I'm pretty sure in first year uni, when we all started turning 18, I had a mate who chucked $1,000 on, I think, the Toronto Raptors, and we went into a uni lecture, like 500 people, it was like a first year subject, had $1,000 on, and it was the game where Jeremy Lamb hit a half-court shot to win them the game. So he lost $1,000 on that, slams his laptop, just walks straight out, like seeing absolute red, and you don't hear from him for like the next week. So
yeah. Scotty, at what point did you sort of know or come to the realization that you were doing something wrong or you had a problem with your punting?
Probably when like my parents were like, you're just burning through cash in your bank account. Like it's all good to gamble and whatever, but it's got to be within your means. And when I'm only working like a part-time job, making whatever I was like a week, not much, couple $100, then you can't be affording to bet on like a single bet half of your weekly wage. So I was like, this is becoming a problem. You know, it's not within how much money I can afford to lose. So that's when I sort of took a step back and was like, yeah, I got to sort of reevaluate.
And what did you do? What did you do? Like when you talk about taking a step back?
I closed so I had like all these accounts open. I closed pretty much all of them except for Ladbrokes, and then I set a deposit limit to $50 a week on my Ladbrokes account.
And curious about that deposit limit. When you set that, did they send you any more, I don't know, sort of deposit offers or incentives to start betting again?
No, they didn't. I was just $50 a week and then set it and then pretty much forgot about it and then didn't really hear any. I didn't really get any promotional offers or anything like that from them.
Yeah, wow, okay. So that's interesting. And when did you sort of hear about what Ricky and I were doing with the business Playmakers Elite?
So I heard about you guys when you started posting something like around middle of October or end of October last year, so 2023. And I was obviously interested in that. Like I'd already heard of match betting before I saw you guys' thing. Like maybe a year and a half earlier, I'd seen some guy on TikTok talking about match betting, and I didn't fully understand like what it was, but I confused it a little bit with arbitrage and match betting. Sort of like thought the two were the same thing. Looked into it a little bit. I saw that it was the person that I was looking at was mainly like horse racing stuff. So I was like, I just don't really find that much interest in horses. Like more of a sport guy. But I already had the idea of like what it was. It wasn't a completely foreign concept when I saw you guys posting about it in like October last year.
Yeah.
So then when I saw that and I was like, I've always kind of wanted to give this a try. Like I've heard of it before. And then it was perfect because it's two guys that I know from school. So there's like that level of trust and like reliability. Like I know who you guys are. It's not going to be a rip off. And so I was like, this is just a perfect opportunity. And you guys are marketing it as NBA season, which I was like, perfect. I love the NBA. I'm watching the NBA anyway. Like this is ideal. So I signed up and then started from there, I guess.
Did you have any doubt, that it actually could be a scam?
Honestly, I actually didn't at all because as I said, I'd already heard of what it was before. I knew it was a legit thing and like I'd done some research as well around it. And so it wasn't really, I didn't ever think that it was going to be a scam. It was more a fact of, was it going to be like too good to be true, or like just the level of like how good actually is it going to be compared to like what it's being marketed as.
Yeah. And when you joined into Playmakers Elite and obviously you're getting the tips, I think when you first joined, we did have some massive couple of days when you were in, which is good. Obviously you want to get good results. When you first join, you want to be able to get, the results, but obviously it's a bit more to it. Did you find when you joined and you had to look at the tutorials or going through sort of the other sort of stuff, did you find it hard? Did you find it easy to pick up?
I found it reasonably easy. I mean, there's a few things that were a little bit challenging, but like I really like all the tutorials and stuff you guys had were pretty clear, pretty self-explanatory. So it made it easy to pick up on. And then like, as you guys said in the last episode, like it's not, you guys didn't invent the concept of match betting. So it's like, there's so many other resources out there that you can go to look at, like beyond what you guys are offering as well. There's just free stuff online that you can look at if you want to go a little bit deeper or you're not understanding something. So I found it pretty easy. Probably the only thing that was a little bit hard to wrap my head around was betfair.
Yeah.
It's probably and I think most people would say the same thing who are just starting, because that's, everyone understands how to like bet and use a bookie and navigate a bookie, but betfair is sort of
it's completely different. Yeah. And like, I think the best advice I sort of tell people and Sam tells people is just try not to actually overcomplicate betfair for what it actually is, especially when you're turning over bonuses and doing mugs. You're sort of thinking, well, how did they come up with this stake size or number, or what is a lay, or like my liability or whatever. All you really need to know is the sort of lay function, and that betfair gives you the ability to back against something to happen, so on something to lose. And that's obviously the bread and butter of what we do in match betting. So yeah, I think naturally everyone tries to overcomplicate betfair a lot, but really it's just knowing that you can use it as like the lay feature.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of like flashing lights and numbers and stuff on betfair. It can be like a bit intimidating at first, but yeah, as you said, if you just like take it back to all you're really needing it for is like that lay function, and you just simplify, then like and the thing is as well, like really the easiest way that I found wrapping my head around it was like once you do it, like you do it a couple times, 3, 4, 5 times, and then like it's easy.
Yeah. Do you ever make any sort of mistakes with betfair, like forgetting to lay or forgetting to back something? Because I know for sure, like Sam and I when we were turning over bonuses on horses when we first started, there were times that, I completely forgot to lay because I was too late.
Yep. There's been a few times, like mostly to do with like liquidity. So I think that's the main one where like I'll sometimes mess up and there won't be enough liquidity in the market, and I'll try and put my lay bet on and then it doesn't get matched, and I'll have to cancel it and try and readjust the odds. But nothing ever major where I've like completely haven't laid the bet and then have lost all my $50 bonus bet or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's good. And did you when you started, did you start on a particular unit size? Did you start on a small unit size and build your way up? Or did you sort of start on 50 from the jump and then maybe you got promo banned or something and then from there you sort of learnt from that you have to build up?
Yeah, so from the start, pretty much for me, like as I said earlier, like I was already gambling like a fair amount. So like back in the day, so I had all these accounts that had been used a lot. So once I reopened them all up, I didn't have to go through quite as much of the mugging process to set up the accounts as a fresh account. So for the most part, I just jumped straight in with like $50 units. But it didn't matter as much for, your big bookies like Sportsbet and Tab. So I was fine. I haven't been banned on them, but like Bluebet I was using for a while, and like they're pretty dodgy. So after like a month or two, I think I got banned from them. I've been banned from a couple other. I don't know if I'm meant to say, but like some of those other like smaller dodgy bookies like Noisy and like
No, go for it. Name and shame.
Diamond Bet, like all these other like just crap ones. I've been like banned by a bunch of them. So
I'm pretty sure I think you messaged us like this was ages ago about Bet Deluxe.
Oh yeah, Bet Deluxe.
They're pretty. Yeah. I think you were getting some really, really good offers.
Yeah, I was getting really, because I was using them a little bit before I started doing match betting. So they were every like week or 2 weeks they were giving me like $100, $150, $200 deposit match bonuses.
That's insane.
So when I first started out with you guys and figured out how to turn over a bonus bet, I was just raking in from them. But now I don't get those anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tough. No, but like if those accounts, those losing accounts, again, like we said in that first episode, you don't actually realize how valuable they are until you sort of get your head around turning over a bonus bet. Then you just sort of see it as I'm just getting offered money for free at this point.
Yeah.
So Scotty, you started sort of big and you kind of stuck to it because you've had those accounts. How much, as you've sort of started and to date now, how much do you reckon you're up from the Playmakers Elite sort of official results that we post out? But overall, with your turning over bonuses and maybe some of the mistakes you've may or may not have made throughout the way, how much do you reckon, if you're tracking it or not, how much do you reckon you've made?
I think, so I joined, I reckon, like the start, like end of October, like just after you guys had really kicked off, I think I joined. And I want to say, I reckon I'm probably made about like 7 to 8 grand, I reckon, since joining.
Wow.
So yeah, but like, I think it was like slow a little bit to start because I was like wrapping my head around it and everything. And then like definitely as NRL and AFL's kicked off with the promos that they've been offering and how well we've been doing, then it's just like the last month and a half is like where I've really like made quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to show like it all comes down to that long-term process, isn't it? So like, yeah, you have like those, weeks where, we haven't really had any, like we've only had 2 losing weeks, but we've obviously had weeks where it's been an absolute grind and like really easily people could be like, yeah, I want to hop off or, you guys, haven't been getting the results. I think between from like January to February to March before NRL, AFL, promos were really dry and it was probably like that opportunity where someone could have been like, yeah, this is shit, or I haven't been making as much money, but look at you sort of now taking advantage of those promos, and it just goes to show like it's also an element of discipline and knowing that it's all a long-term process.
Yeah, for sure.
And Scotty, just on that profit figure that you've made, is that just from, say, a sports system like us?
Yeah, that's like entirely from sport. I don't really do any horses or like greyhounds or anything like that. It's pretty much all through the Playmakers bets that you guys have been posting. And then I've had maybe like a couple extra like bonus turnovers where I've like put it on some try score or something like a little bit more fun and that have gotten up and I've gotten lucky there. So that's just boosted that figure, but pretty much entirely through the Playmakers tips.
And why haven't you gotten into, say, horses or dogs, for example?
It's like you guys touched on like on the last episode. One, like I find sports way more interesting, like NRL, NBA for sure, AFL like a little bit, probably not as much as the other two. Whereas like I'm not really that interested in watching like horse races or greyhounds. And then also the fact that, yeah, as you guys said, predominantly if you're trying to like match bet on those, you got your Wednesday and Saturday are your big days. Wednesday, I got work. Like you guys do, or most people do, got the 9 to 5 or part-time job or whatever. And then Saturdays as well, like I'm usually playing sport or I've got something else on and I don't really want to sit and commit my whole day to parking up and watching races. I'd rather be hanging out with my mates. You can put the bets on, like you guys said, with the sport. You can get all your bets put in and then you can go and enjoy and socialise on your Saturday night, hang out with your mates, actually like watch the games with your mates, have a few beers, whatever else, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like we touched on that first episode as well, the reason why we wanted to do that sports sort of system is, well, we've been spending a long time, or majority of our time from match betting, doing sport, but we also realize the benefit that it gives sort of other people, like, if you, for example, yourself, Scotty, like you just want to be in a position where you can just chuck the bets in the morning and then blindly go about your day and, you can watch sport with all your boys, get them around, have a few beers, go to the pub. But it's also knowing that, you're going to win long term. You're not going to, even if it does, like we do lose or one leg goes down or, even if we win as well, you just know like I'm going to be chilling in 3 months time, 4 months time. The graph's just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with horses as well is, sure, you could have a service that tips you the horse, but you've got to be on your phone.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be, I don't know, watching the footy or something with your mates or out having lunch with them, and the bet's coming through and you've got to put them on, whereas the sports stuff, you don't. And I think that flexibility that you touched on and we always mention is the biggest reason as to why we stick to sports mainly.
Yeah, and it's not a knock on horses because there's so many promos offered and like people are making a killing on the races. It's just personally like something that we're not really particularly interested in. And plus, like sport, like for example with races as well, if you're getting sent tips on races, you've got to be on your phone. And if you forget to put the tip and, the bet wins, then you probably feel like shit as well because you're just thinking, oh, fuck, like I could have put the bet on, like I missed it and, they all hit. It's like that mental side as well, whereas sport, you've got, that 2 hour, 3 hour window to put it on. We've done the sort of hard yards, the analysis, looking at the modeling, looking at, player trends, historical data, and that, the bets you're being sent out, like they're not generally, like they're generally going to hit. Obviously, we went through our results last week and we've got we only have like 10% on average that, we have full losses, which is in like the long term fuck all.
Yeah, it's nothing. Exactly. And Scotty, how much time would you say you spend, say, per week doing match betting?
I probably spend I want to say like a few hours at most. It's probably jumped up a bit like now that I'm really, because I've been banned a few times, so I'm trying to actually increase how much I'm mugging. So generally like day to day, I'll just try and wake up. It's good because you got the NBA game. So before I go to work, I'll just jump on, put some mug bets on all my accounts. Takes like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Go to work, not really doing anything from Monday through to Wednesday. And then Thursday, when you guys do, as you said, you're doing the hard yards, you put constructing all the tips and everything for the Discord and then sending them in and then putting the bets on, like doesn't take long at all either. So
and now
a few hours.
Sorry, now that you've seen how valuable an account is with sustainability, does that encourage you to be more active with your mugging?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like as I was talking about earlier, getting banned, like I didn't really give a shit about getting banned from like Bluebet and like some of these other like really dodge bookies, but I got banned from like Ladbrokes like 2 weeks ago. So then and then also Neds as well, because obviously they're owned by the same people, so it was just like bang bang gone. So now I'm actually like, oh shit, I need to properly switch on and like make sure I'm doing this mugging and sustainability stuff, because like, if you lose your tab and your sports bet account, like it's just like so much value that you've lost if you get promo banned by them.
Yeah, definitely. And on that, do you watch the games? Do you watch every single game, or are you going about your weekend sometimes and you're just happy to ignore the result and look at it later at night? Or tell us about what you do.
So for me, like obviously we've got the NRL and AFL going. I'm more of a NRL fan, so obviously if it's Friday, Saturday night, whatever, and both of the games are on, I'm going to go for the NRL and watch that, usually with some mates or whatever. So most of the time I'll be watching the games. Obviously, like some exceptions on Thursday nights, I got training, so I can't always watch that game. And then Sundays, I got games as well, so sometimes I can't watch those games either. But like generally, when I can, like I'm pretty interested and keen to watch the games.
Yeah, and I can tell you're pretty much watching most of the games because you're always in the Discord chat, like talking shit about a player not performing or like cheering on a bet that hits. Obviously, like we had that Friday night a couple of weeks ago where we went 9 of 9 and the whole chat was going crazy. And like, again, like we were talking about in that first episode, we could just match bet ourselves and, like make money and all that. But it's not as fun as when you've actually got a community that, you've got everyone sort of there. Everyone's got the same goals. Everyone's trying to help each other out. And, when we have a day like that, then everyone just gets around it and just like cheers on, and it gives you that massive dopamine compared to like, Sam and I, we've done it for a while now. We're just, we're like, it sounds kind of like cocky, but we're sort of used to, having our bets hit or like seeing long-term how we go. But now it's like seeing everyone else enjoy those big days. Those like for us, that like feel special.
Yeah. I just want to say as well on that, like, yeah, for sure. There's like the whole sense of community when like the bets get up like that. And yeah, 9 from 9 on the Easter long weekend when we went 9 from 9, like that was just nuts and everyone's getting around it. And like even for me, like if I'm putting the bets on and say I'm late to put them on because I was doing something or whatever, and like I can't quite get exactly the tips that you guys put out, I'll like won't try and go do my own bet. I'll make a way to make sure I'm putting on the same tips because it's pretty lame. Like sometimes you put on a bet that's different to what you guys put on. Say we're betting on the Friday night NRL game and I put on a tip that's different to you guys and say mine gets up and you guys loses. Like I'm still a bit...
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as good as if there's the whole 30 people in the Discord all on this one bet riding at home and it gets up and everyone's going crazy. Yeah. Whereas you win and then everyone else loses, you feel a bit shit. So yeah, it's
and
a sense of
even
community.
And even also like a day where we probably break even or we don't do as well. It's even when like everyone else is and yourself as well, like saying, well, we've been here for ages. Like it's just one day. Look at how far we've come. Like one day doesn't really mean anything in the long run as well. And even now, like some of the newer members know that and they sort of just like, yeah, it's all right. We just move on to the next day. So the fact that, everyone gets up for a win is good, but when we don't have like a massive day or we barely break even or it's a grind, then there's still a lot of positivity in the community where everyone's like, well, we know like a big day is imminent, like that, like we'll just get that positive variance, like regardless.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone, Scotty, who joins in, I don't know, on the Friday and Saturday of their first week, their bets or the bets don't get up or they barely break even?
Yeah, I would just say, like, as Rick said, like, it's a long-term process and, like, it sucks. It's a bit shit if you just first join and then you get that first impression of a losing week. But that's, like, you got to look at the long-term results. They're all available and, like, the proof is in the pudding. Like, over the long term, we're gonna win. And I think, as well, when you look at it, like, say last weekend, we didn't have the best weekend. We still got up, like, whatever it was, 3 or 4 units.
Yeah.
It's like... like when we place the bets, we're playing the odds. We're making the right bets. Like say we're on the NRL, we're backing the favourite, and then placing. We've got the strategies around how you guys make the tips, and then it goes to Golden Point, and some underdog somehow wins or whatever. I'm just saying that you play the odds, you make the right bets based on what the odds are, and sometimes results happen, but. Like, it never worries me if we have, like, a bad week or, like, the rare 1 or 2 times we've had a losing week or whatever it is, like, because it is a long-term process. And, you just look at that week, Easter long weekend when we went 9 from 9 Friday night. And then what was the units that we got up on that weekend? I think it was like
16 and 17 or something. Could be more.
Exactly.
But yeah, it goes to show, like, even those, like, days where it's a grind or we have those 1 or 2 weeks where we do go down, those like big weeks just like absolutely just make those small weeks just mean like nothing. in the long term, and it just at the end of the day it all comes out the wash.
Yeah, we even had that with the draw in the NRL, the first draw. Who was it? Manly Warriors, was it? Yeah, we didn't actually back a head-to-head.
Yeah.
We took the line, so regardless of the draw happening, we still profited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah. And Scotty, would you say making money with match betting is the easiest part? What's the hardest part?
Yeah, for sure. Like the easiest part's making the money. The hardest part is definitely the sustainability aspect of it. Like, to be honest, like, especially when you first start, I know I did. Like, I was like, oh yeah, like mugging. Oh, nah, can't really be bothered to do that, and just didn't really do it at all. And then it took me getting banned on a couple of bookies before I was like, yeah, shit, I actually need to properly do this. Because yeah, obviously that's the hardest part. Not only because it's important for keeping. You need to keep your accounts alive and don't get promo banned, but also it's like the most boring because you got to do it pretty much every day, and like, you don't stand to gain anything. You're always taking that small loss every time. So, there's no enjoyment in, like, if say I'm putting all these mug bets on the NBA on player props, like I'm not really interested in watching some guy hit his 20 points or whatever, because I know that doesn't matter which way he goes. I'm going to take that small loss in whatever way it goes. But I find that one thing that's made mugging like a little bit better is like that you guys touched on it last episode, the middling stuff is a lot more fun, because then you're still doing your mug bets, you're still keeping your account sustainable, but then you've also got that upside of, if it does hit that middle, then I get to actually make a profit on both bookies, which keeps it enjoyable, keeps it fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And you hit a middle today, didn't you? You were saying just before we started filming.
I did. I hit a Nikola Vukovic over 12.5 under 13.5 rebounds, so I was pretty G'd up about that. So it's always, because they're hard to hit, obviously, like you're hitting exactly in the middle of their line, so when it does happen, you're pretty stoked about it.
And just as well, what do you think separates, say, someone who employs match betting principles, but then compare that to, say, your regular gambler?
I think you guys talked about it a lot last week. It's just really like discipline and having an actual structured process around what you're doing. So like obviously the average gambler, like, and there's nothing wrong with, you're going to the pub with your mates and you want to throw, couple like 10, 15 bucks on like a head to head on the NRL or a try score, a first try score, whatever. There's lots of fun to be had there, but like it's sort of compounding errors as well. Like when you're the average gambler, I've just lost $50 on this game. Next NRL game's coming on, I'll put 100. I'll win my losses back. Or that kind of mindset that we don't have with match betting. It's structured. We know exactly what we're going to do each week. You guys set out the sort of game plan, if you will, like with the tips that go out, and then we know, okay, we get our bonus bet, we turn it over. It's all very like step-by-step process rather than betting with emotion, like you guys talk about a lot.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong if you do want to have a play around with those like massive 20-leg multis. Like we're obviously a match betting service. We're not trying to encourage like, massive wins. But, if you've got the bankroll and you're willing to, chuck $5, $10 for just a bit of fun, then it's absolutely fine. Just as long as you know that you've got a system that you're prioritizing and like that's making you money long term. If you've got a genuine system that you sort of stick by and you're disciplined, then there's obviously no harm in, chucking $5, $10 on. Like the Sixers Miami game was on today and I chuck like $5 on
Rookie error.
An absolute 111 to $1 odds, because I thought, it's only like $5. It's like I'm willing to lose that just for a bit of fun so we can watch the games and, enjoy it.
Ignore everything he just said. That's karma because he bet on my Philadelphia 76ers. So that was all a bunch of rubbish. Ignore everything Rick just said.
I just want to add on to that as well. Like, it's like what we do as well with you guys most weeks, setting out like a AFL bonus bet multi. It's like, yeah, we're not, you're willing to lose, expecting you're going to lose that, like that $50 bonus bet, but then you got that tracking it the whole week. It's a bit of fun, like camaraderie. Everyone's getting around it if it gets up or whatever.
Yeah. And
like the same thing, I've done like a couple, we'll have a pretty good week. I'll have a couple bonus bets. I go, oh, I've got one to play with. I'll put it on like a little three-leg try score multi or something like that. So it's like you can still have that fun on the side where it's a little bit of those, those higher odds, bigger multis that are, unlikely to hit, but are a bit of fun to watch get up over the weekend. And like you can still balance that with the match betting mindset, and you can have that on the side where it's, still a bit of fun.
And I think we've hit a fair few NBA bonuses as well throughout the season. I think we've definitely hit 5 or 6, and you would have probably, I think you've put them on all of them.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, at the end of the day, even if we say if we weren't doing the bonus turnover method at all, and you were doing those, $6 to $8 multis, obviously I'm not going to encourage it, but like for a bit of fun, if one does actually hit, say out of the 10, you're still probably actually turning it over like 70%, and it just comes down to like the emotion. You don't want to go like over and beyond, but you still want to be able to look at legs or look at, player props that, are likely to hit. Or again, it's just going through like the, the data, like the research, which is what we do as well. But we still want to, have that element of fun where we have the community sort of cheering something on that we can do for fun. But we all know like there's one goal, and that's, to make as much money as possible over the long term. And if we prioritize that system, then, we can still have fun. So I think that's, the biggest thing with us.
Yeah. Scotty, has match betting, I know Rick and I touched on it last week about what it's opened us to, but has it allowed you to do things that you previously would not have done? Talking from a financial point of view.
Financially, yeah. It's sort of because you guys obviously a lot longer of your way into the journey. So like it's probably opened up more things for you as it has for me, because it's only been, 5-6 months or whatever now it's been. But realistically for me, it's been having that extra cash on the side, because I still work a part-time job. So, having that extra money coming in from the match betting, like I withdraw it a little bit, but as you guys talk about, there's better ways to go about that. You don't really want to withdraw from the bookie, but realistically for me, it's been like allowing me to have that extra spending money, so then I can take my paycheck from my part-time job and put it into some investments and stuff like that, trying to, make some good financial decisions for my future. And like match betting's allowed me to do that. And definitely what Rick was saying in the previous episode about taking that money out and going on a trip with his boys to Japan, like that would for sure be on the cards for me in the future. Like as we keep going, like across the journey, going into next year, I'll be over a year doing it.
Yeah.
Like in that position, I'll probably, going to do the same thing as Rick. And if I'm trying to go on a trip with my mates, I'll pull some money out of one of my accounts or betfair or whatever, so I can fund going on a boys trip.
It's pretty satisfying as well. Like just being able to, like, it kind of sounds like a bit of a flex saying, yeah, I basically like paid this trip because I won on the punt.
Yeah.
Like, and like telling my mates that and just saying like, yeah, I pretty much paid from like whatever bookie I'm not going to say their name, but I pretty much was able to like withdraw money out of a betting account and being like, yeah, I basically got the bookies to pay for my trip, which is like, pretty funny looking back.
Yeah. And what do your mates think of what, like you doing match betting? What do they say? Do they believe you?
So my mates all sort of know about it. I've tried to get like some of them on board, and some of them are on board. Some of them are in the Discord as well, who are members. So that's good. But yeah, no, they like believe me. Like I tell them about the profits and everything, and I sometimes show them the results and whatever else, and so like they believe that it's a long-term system and that it works. But some people, they just aren't really, like, haven't really wrapped their heads around it yet. Like, there's people keep saying, like, oh, is it too good to be true? Is it too good to be true? And I can understand where they're coming from because, with all the things out there on, like, Facebook and Instagram or whatever, that you see those ads pop up for, like, these tipping services, not necessarily match betting, but people saying that they can tip NBA results or player props and horses and all this stuff, with all that saturation in the market of people trying to claim that they can provide these like winning tips, then it's understandable that people are a little bit skeptical.
Yeah.
And I think another thing as well that with some of my friends that I've either tried to do or I've spoken to them about it, they say, oh, well, it's not fun if like you lose all the fun of betting if you know that you're going to win. And I say, oh, and I think they get confused with the difference between arbitrage and match betting. So they think that they sort of get too confused and think that, oh, I don't even need to watch the game. I know I'm going to win. Whereas it's not like that with match betting. Like we're still putting the bets on. We're still in the Discord watching the NRL game, riding at home. We're just minimizing that loss if we do lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So you still get that enjoyment of riding home that bet. And then like we kept talking about that other weekend where we went 9 from 9. It's like the same as if you're just betting normally and you had 9 bets on and they all got up. You're still super G'd up. Like you've had a really good night. It's not like, people are getting confused with arbitrage where you're getting this amount of profit and I can just flick the game up. I don't even need to watch it. So I think they get confused sometimes there where they say, oh yeah, there's like, where's the enjoyment? Where's the fun? There's no more fun in it if you know what you're going to get. But
do you see match betting as very similar to investing in the stock market?
Yeah, I do see it as quite a similar thing. I think you guys talked about it last week. And yeah, it's very similar, except obviously on a more short-term sort of scale. But yeah, very similar in terms of, you're turning over your bonus bets. You guys talked about your return on investment as well and how that is. If you compare that, to like an S&P 500, whatever you're going to get returns on that compared to what we're getting. What's the current ROI that you guys are at right now, I think?
I think it's probably around 22%.
22%? Yeah, so pretty good. And like, I'm also doing like business at QT for my university degree. So like I'm learning about that kind of finance stuff in uni. And then, you can see the application between the two.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your sort of advice that you can give maybe someone who is losing on the punt every week or, is sick of losing on the punt, doesn't really know what they want to do in their life and they kind of just bet, but they want to win on the punt. Like, considering you were sort of in that position of, I was losing every week and I pretty much had to shut down a few accounts, what would your advice be for, someone like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, honestly, it's just like give match betting a go. Like, I think for one, how much is the subscription fee for you guys, if you can say?
$50 a month.
Like $50 a month. And it's like, realistically, that's like nothing. It's like you go out, most people go out and get on the piss every weekend. You go get like 4 drinks from a bar and bang, you're at $50.
For like 2 now.
Yeah, 2 now. So it's like, realistically, it's not that much money. If you keep losing, and as you're saying, if you're a losing punter who's gambling every weekend and you're losing $50, $100, $200 each weekend, it's like, why not try and at least find another way? Give it a go, subscribe for a month. You can even just sit for the first 2 weeks, just track the results, see how it goes, and then decide to, dip your toe in the water. As you guys said, you don't have to jump straight in with $50 units. You can start with $5, $10 units. I think I had a mate who joined as well, and like he was, he just slowly worked his way and he didn't need to jump straight up to $50 units. He just went in, started with $10, sort of wrapped his head around it, gave it a go, and then slowly worked his way up. So I think I really just don't see the reason, like, why not give it a go? Like $50 a month, it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things, with how much people are spending, like going out on the weekend, getting on the piss or whatever. So, give it a go, $50 a month. I think it's definitely worth a try. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but at least, have a crack.
Yeah, and the people who are going out and getting on the beers, like if you're in the club or at an event, I don't know, a 21st or something or a function, you can be ordering your drinks and your drinks are already paid for with match betting.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if have you ever used that sports bet card or anything like that?
No, I haven't. Been very tempted to though.
Yeah. So that would be just the dream, like getting the sports bet or Ladbrokes card, and then that can just be your night out, like fun money, just using that.
It'd be the biggest flex as well, because no one really has money in those accounts anyway.
You would look like such a cockhead.
Yeah,
That'd be so funny.
So should we order some?
Yeah. I'm thinking of
been eyeing it off.
Yeah.
Well, this is full time for me now, so I'll actually need to use that. That card would actually come in handy, just like buying just things in general. But so if you do have that card, you see the bets go through and you're like, oh, there's my night paid for, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
I remember one of our members, like, this is like where we had one of our big nights, message me like, oh my God, this is insane. I'm going to withdraw all my money and I'm just going to tell everyone at Mr. Percival's, like, Playmakers Elite, like, sign up or whatever. Shout out Dom, you're the man.
Thanks, Dom.
Free marketing, we'll take that. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, like if people don't say that, if people are saying this isn't fun or, what's the fun by like following a system? Why don't you do the, big multis? Well, first of all, like, again, that's the mindset of a losing punter, but it's not like we don't have fun as well. Like we said, we still chuck $5-10 on a big multi every now and then for a bit of fun because we've got the bankroll for it. And we do have those bonus bets that we turn over on like an AFL multi, but we're prioritizing a system that we know wins long term. And ultimately, if you don't find fun in making money on the punt, then I think you're missing out. That's just how I see it. So yeah, do you have any sort of goals in terms of your match betting for the year? Like, do you have a sort of benchmark as to how much you want to make this year, or you just want to keep chipping away?
I haven't thought or really put like a proper set figure in my head, but I think, just keep going the way that we're going. Keep scaling up as well. Like, I don't want to touch on it too much if you guys don't want to, but, just keep scaling up and building up to the level that you guys are at. Obviously, you guys are the most advanced, and then, I've been doing it for a few months now, so I'm slowly working my way up, but just keep going the way we're going because it's going great so far. And, ideally, I'd probably want to be at that point, sort of where you were at, Rick, where you had that enough money in there where you could withdraw to go on a boys trip with your mates to Japan.
Yeah.
Because I'm, thinking about trying to do something similar with my friends. So it'd be like, as you said, it'd be sick to have that money and just be able to, finance the whole trip from my match betting.
Did you sort of try out, so we've been out of school for a while now, did you try out any other sort of side hustles or ways online to make money?
I never personally did. I've seen all the stuff on like the drop shipping and, e-commerce and all those kinds of things, but I'd never really found much interest in it. And like they were a lot of as well, like it seemed too good to be true, or like, and I've seen lots of videos and stuff of people saying like, it can work, but like there's lots of times where you try and start one up and it just fails. And like, I think I know some friends or like friends of friends who have tried to start up some businesses and stuff like that. And like, it's hard work, like not trying to knock on them, it's like really difficult to, start up a business and have it get off the ground. So like, I never personally gave anything like that a go, but then when this popped up, it was just perfect because it's like, I love watching sport. I'm obviously used to get on the punt a lot, so it was like just the perfect mix of everything that I like, and then also being like a side hustle where I can churn out some extra coin on the side.
Yeah, I'd just like to go around. Rick, start with you. Where do you think you'd be if you didn't find match betting?
Probably still punting and losing on the punt, like just sort of like everyone else. Like I said, I didn't really know much about match betting or had that idea at all about winning on the punt until you sort of introduced me to it when you were really new to it. So, yeah, without match betting, finances-wise, like I've only been working 2 days a week, so it's not like I've been working a full-time job. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough, like I stay at home. I don't have to worry about expenses, but just having match betting just allows me to like keep seeing money sort of like over time just keep growing and growing, and then I can eventually use that money to sort of invest on things, save up for maybe a property or something like that. It allows me to, make those decisions that I probably wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have match betting, because I think a big problem for people our age is, especially when you're in uni or you're finishing uni, like you're getting paid like, every fortnight, but a lot of that for people who are living out of home, they've got to pay it on like food, rent, expenses, and then you sort of get into the habit of like living paycheck to paycheck. And I think the biggest thing that match betting sort of offers is like you've just got money sitting on the side that you don't really have to worry about withdrawing or touching. You can just let it grow over time, and when the time comes when you need it, when you want to go on a trip or you want to use it for something else that, you want to keep increasing your sort of money over time, then that's what, match betting offers. And yeah, I would not have any of that if it wasn't for match betting.
I would echo a lot of the same stuff that Rick's just said. I think, biggest thing was like living like a paycheck to paycheck type lifestyle, which I pretty much entirely was before I started match betting. And so it's really just opened up, having that extra bit of money where now I can, obviously, I'm not relying on getting to that next fortnight on Monday where I'm like starving for money on that Sunday going, oh, my bank account's basically empty. I've actually got a little bit more, sustainability with how much money's in my bank account or whatever. And then it's opened up like the opportunity where I can take some of that extra money that I'm, making from match betting or whatever, or I'm saving because I'm not having to spend as much because I've got that extra money coming in from match betting, where I can now like invest that in stuff, to try and set myself up a little bit better for the future. Like, for if I'm trying to get a property in the future or whatever else, or go on a trip with my friends, it's allowed me to like just be a little bit more financially free than before I started.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I'd probably be working a lot more at my current day job than I am at the moment. And that flexibility of being able to go out and do things with mates, and it just takes it to a whole nother level, combining that match betting with your day job or whatever you're doing. It just allows you to do so much more. It's also taught me a lot, I think, the value of money as well, especially seeing how expensive everything is at the moment. How important it is to have structure and bankroll. Sure, you can go out and purchase a lot of things from the shops out of emotion, but do you really need it? Should you really be doing it? That's for you to decide. But that structure and that discipline, I've taught myself or been exposed to with match betting, I think it has really paid dividends with my approach towards my money. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned from match betting. And Scotty as well, just another thing. Do you have any advice to Rick and I about ways we can improve our service? Not getting too deep into it, but just sort of any general advice for anyone who's interested.
Put me on the spot. I don't really know. You guys are doing a pretty like cracking job so far. I mean, your marketing at the start was probably where you were like lacking a little bit, but you guys
That's an understatement.
you guys have picked that up a lot, like recently and like in the last few months. That's been like really good to see. And then obviously doing this podcast now and trying to just push out more and more content, get the word out to people, spread that information's been really good. Honestly don't know. You guys are doing a pretty cracking job so far. I mean, I think, the more that we can just keep building the community in the Discord, like because, there's a good amount of people who really engage in the chat, but like it'd be good if there was like everyone
just gets around.
Everyone who was in, a member was actually like really getting around the chat, and like we had every member fully engaged. Like, obviously you got people who like they sort of set and forget, like they put the tips on and they're not going to touch the Discord. But the more we can just grow the community in the Discord and, have people interacting and, more questions and like stuff like that in chats, the better.
Yeah, I think the community element of that as well, I'd just like to touch on. Match betting should not be your whole life. For us, I'd definitely say it's a part of our lives. And it's made our lives a lot better, a lot easier in some areas too. But it doesn't have to be. Yes, the community's there for when you want it, but it's not your life. It's not our lives. Definitely not at all. It should just be a part of your life. Don't let it consume you is what I think. But even on those negative days, like I think we just laugh them off now.
Yeah.
I think I'll send in a message and I'll just honestly just laugh and be like, yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, I don't think like compared to before I started match betting, you'd have times when you'd lose a multi by one leg, or like you'd lose some bet and you'd be like actually like mad. Like you'd be properly angry, like throw your phone down and be like, F this, like properly pissed off. Whereas now, like we have a losing day and it's like everyone in the chat's like, annoyed, but having a laugh about it. Like it's not that big a deal. Like we know bounce back tomorrow, bounce back next weekend. Like we see the long-term goal. No one is like, since starting match betting, I've never finished a week or day and been like actually pissed off about the results. You understand the process of what we're doing.
Do you want to say, when you're talking about smashing your phone, do you want to say what you lost that day?
Oh, I've had like back when I was properly like badly gambling, I had several bad like losses. Like one time where I remember I had like $500 on like the Chiefs to win an NFL game, lost, and I'm obviously like basically in tears. Like so upset, and other times similar to that, like $250 on like some NBA player to hit his points line or whatever, and then he misses by a point, and I'm like, it's just fucking absolutely pissed. But
Or
now
what
coming
about-
back to
What about like Klay Thompson yesterday?
Oh,
do
God,
we want to
yeah.
talk about our blacklist for
Yeah, we'll
betting?
have a bit of fun. Like we've obviously, on the majority have had a very successful sort of, we're obviously long term and it's match betting principles, but there are some players along the way that have absolutely shut the bed for us. I think Klay Thompson's been one of them
Big
throughout the
time.
NBA season.
Big time.
I think I would say the Warriors as a whole, like this year,
Andrew Wiggins?
Wiggins absolutely terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Who else will we have in our
Who's the
blacklist?
AFL player?
Oh, Tom Green.
Tom Green.
He's had a stinker the last couple of weeks.
He'll bounce back.
Yeah, of course. He's going for Brownlow. So
Who was the guy who came one short on that when we missed by one disposal?
Golden.
Golden. Who's he play for? Swans.
Swans. Yeah. 'Cause-
Blacklisted.
Yep,
Yeah.
blacklisted.
for sure, indefinitely. And I don't think we ever go back to them as well. We're just like,
Done.
leave them.
There was another. Who was the other? There was a few other NBA players in there as well.
Oh, there's definitely been a few.
Klay Thompson was the big one.
Was Zach Levine what? No, Levine was pretty good, wasn't he? It was
DeMar DeRozan.
DeRozan.
Oh, DeRozan.
You'd
DeRozan
bet on,
rebounds.
DeRozan.
every time you bet on DeRozan rebound, like say DeRozan 4+ rebounds, he get like 8 assists and 1 rebound, and then you bet on DeRozan 4+ assists, he get 9 rebounds and like 1 assist.
Oh, what about Tobias Harris?
I reckon he's been alright for us this year.
He was decent, yeah, especially his rebound line or his points line. For some
Yeah.
reason, that seemed to always hit.
I think a blacklist was Zion. I think we did one time. He went 18 of 20 to get 5+ boards in that sort of stretch of the season, and he had like a really good. They were playing the Suns. He had a really good rebounding average against them historically. He gets like 2 rebounds, and this is Zion Williamson we're talking about, who's like 6'8", 6'9".
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy, like no excuses for you to like just get down low and get dirty. But I think he was just trying to play point guard for some reason. He was just scared to rebound. So Zion. But I would say like the most reliable this season for the NBA is probably LeBron. Like LeBron 2021 has always been like,
It's a lock.
it's usually a lock. Actually, it's always been a lock. I think we tipped him the other day, LeBron 22, and that was yesterday. And
Yeah, that
went
hit
through.
Reeves 12 points, and what was the final one?
Herb Jones.
Herb.
Yeah, splash of 3.
Yeah,
So,
good boy.
Yeah, generally we've had good success, but we do have a blacklist.
Have you guys heard of the Jontay Porter stuff that just came out?
Yeah.
He's He's banned from the NBA, lifetime ban.
So anyone in the audience listening, a player called Jontay Porter for the Toronto Raptors was lifetime banned from the NBA for he didn't bet on himself. He gave information to someone about his medical condition or how he was feeling, and they went and placed a large amount of money on an unders prop for him. I think it was points or rebounds, not too sure.
I think it was points, and I think he was throwing absolute bricks.
Yeah, and he was saying he got pulled because of his eye in one of the games. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So he has been lifetime banned from the National Basketball Association.
I'm pretty sure there's a clip of him like accidentally banking a 3, and he looks like vividly pissed off. That is hilarious. And then there's the comments that are saying like, how is Jontay Porter getting a lifetime ban, but then Miles Bridges is still playing in the league, even though he like hit his girlfriend or something.
Yeah, not good.
Not good at all.
No, but yeah, I think. Do you have any final questions for Scotty, Rick, or Scotty? Do you have any questions for us?
No, I think I'm just happy to be on. Happy to have had the chat with you guys and continue to, keep making money going forward.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you've listened through, we've really appreciated your time listening to us. I hope you've learned a thing or two from Scotty's experiences and also our stories. We're really trying our best to grow our community, kind of get everyone to chase that one goal of just absolutely rinsing the bookies on the punt. And the biggest thing is that, we're having fun. We want to bring a like-minded bunch of blokes that, you know, sick of losing on the punt or looking for a side hustle to get them through. So this here is just a really good opportunity for you to sort of put your hand up, give it a crack. And at the end of the day, we all see this as just getting paid to watch sport, which is for us who really enjoy watching sport. This is, you know, the dream. And, you know, that's sort of the beauty of what we do. And we just want to keep growing our community, and we want to just keep helping people out as much as possible. We don't really want to gatekeep anything. We're more than happy to answer anyone's questions. We're never going to say, well, you have to pay $49.99 if you want to know this.
Yeah. There's no mystery boxes.
There's no mystery boxes with us, what we do, no matter how big or small. Yeah, like, you know, feel free to send us any questions. If you're interested about knowing more about what we do, we're more than happy to help you, and, you know, keep listening to the podcast. If you want to know more, feel free to shoot any of us a message. And it's, you know, thanks for taking the time, Scotty, to jump on and, you know, share your experiences. You know, we know that you're going to keep chipping away, and you're going to make a lot of money going forward in the next few months.
Thanks for having me on, boys.
No, thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank
you.